The Twinborn Saga, Deluge of Tears. Chapter 1, Bloodborne. Del ran. His breath was short. Sweat dampened his skin. He risked a glance behind him, imagining his pursuer in the shadows, thrown off by the street lanterns. The beads woven into the ropes of hair on one side of his head clicked and chimed against one another as he sprinted. His lungs pumped like bellows, and his thin-soled boots slapped against the pavers. The stillness of the capital at night made every sound into a beacon. He ran, gasping and skidding, grasping brick cornerstones with fingertips to catch his balance as he made a sharp turn. Any other day he would have walked with decorum and straightened his rank braids. Now, his shattered heart bled out on a marble floor next to fluttering pages and still bodies. His sister's blood marked his chin and lips, drying on his long coat in an arc, the kind cast off from a quick and honed blade. He dodged down another street, turning left. The street lanterns were sparse here, the shadows longer. Del ran for his life, and his other half, his twin sister. His mind stuttered upon the last moments they had together. The higher sword had come from behind the bellows tapestry so smoothly and so casually that the four scholars hadn't run. No words. He had spared them no words and not even a moment's pause. His blade appeared in a flash, and he cut lyric and silence down. The tow-headed male twins cried out in eerily identical voices before they fell, and were kicked aside. Scrolls and tablets scattered across the marble tiles, followed soon after by blood. The man was tall, but thin, a wraith in a dark, mottled longcoat. He wore a sheath harness, the scarred leather crossing his chest and waist. Bracers wrapped his forearms, and there was no veil on his face, a face now burned into Del's memory. Close-shorn hair, hollow-cheeked, bright eyes reflecting lantern light. No veil on a higher sword's face meant you were never supposed to live to tell the tale. Trick knew immediately. Del realized it a fraction of a moment later, which was usually how things worked with Del and Trick. She was the one who screamed in alarm. The servant was already retreating, the tray of meat tarts and wine halfway from his fingers to the floor. A short blade flipped end over end and slid into his back, severing his spine. The round silver tray sounded like a gong as it landed, turning like a child's top until the pull of gravity sped the rotation of the edge against the floor, and it clattered to a stop. The slim shadow of a man walked forward through spilled wine even before the tray had stilled. The only others left alive in the scholar's den were Trick and Del. Trick wasn't running. She backed away, still facing the assassin, and put her palm out toward her brother as if to stop him. Then she made a pushing motion toward him, and the air blurred between them. His sister's Varia, the essence of her being, pulsed and shocked its way into his blood, bones, and soul. "No, Trickle!" he croaked, even as he heard her whisper in his heart, her husky voice echoing, "I have foreseen this." The voice vibrated from the marrow of his bones, not emanating from Trick, who stood a dozen steps from him with her mouth closed tight. Deluge Barrio, twin-born of Oak, bond brother to Trickle Barrio, was undeniably compelled by the last will of his bond sister, her Varia, to shut his mouth and sidle toward the balcony. "There, stand there and be ready," said the voice of her ghost in Del's mind, even as she still breathed, facing off against the dark man. Del thought of grabbing the candelabra and advancing. The impulse was muted immediately as his sister's Varia wrapped around him and urged, "No, Del, attack, and no one but the higher sword will leave this room still breathing." The warning flared through him in less than a blink, as fast as conversations flit by in dreams. To make matters worse, Del heard Trick's real voice in the next moment, as he had never heard her speak to anyone, a curse-filled mocking which horrified him. "Pox on your flea-bitten mother, you single-born lowling. She likely rued the day she birthed you, you worthless." And that's all for this chapter of the Twinborn Saga, Deluge of Tears. To hear more, please subscribe to Leslie Kung's author page at patreon.com/ArtemisRising. That's all. Thanks for listening.